You forget about that one. And you keep them coming in. You're doing well, son.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Welcome to the show. Everyone's expecting. If you know them well, you know. Do as I say, not as I do. Welcome, friends, you know. Unity in all that we do. It isn't.
Hey, welcome everybody to Drunk Dudes in a Gun Room. Just remember, there is only one drunk dude right now, so you've got to drink enough to see two of us. But don't worry about that, because this show is sponsored by Operation Encore. I love their little merch. They are an amazing organization, and if you would like to learn more about them, go on over to operationencore.org. If you can, hit the little donate button and help them out. So real quick, here is a quick commercial for our radio station, Gun Room Radio.
You are not alone. There are so many. It's a mortar attack. Smaller fire and RPGs. We don't. He was sitting in the shadows with a gun in his hand and a lifetime of. I know he can remember when all the shows turned off at 12 a.m.
Hey, all right. So I have got a show today, man. I have been, ever since this show got booked, I have been waiting for it to happen. I've even had other people come to me and ask, when are you going to have Joe Allen Christi on? Well, today is that day. Let me bring on Joe Allen Christi. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Oh, no issue, man. I've been looking forward to this. I think you're one of the most active artists I see on TikTok, man. So, Brian, he'll like share out your TikToks. The next thing I know, all of us our chat room has just changed to your live stream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. We have a
I
great
try to
time, brother.
Yeah, I try to keep busy. I kind of use TikTok as I don't know if I have too much reverb, but I try to use TikTok as like practice because I gig around town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very. I mean, I've been gigging probably around a year and a half now. So
okay, you would never know by watching it.
Oh, thanks, brother.
So let's get into a little bit about your history, man. Tell everybody a little quick down run of who Joe Allen Christi is.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally from South Texas, Corpus Christi. I was born there. Ended up moving to Dallas when I was very young. Then moved back to Corpus. Went to high school and went to high school there. Graduated in 1995. And I've always had a love for like the military. My dad was in the military during Vietnam, and he always the stories he would tell. I was always really interested about it.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of us start out. I came from a military background too, and even though I didn't necessarily know, my dad was in during peacetime and was injured and ended up getting out from a car accident, and but I had all my uncles were in. My biological father was in, my grandpa was in, both his brothers were in, and I got married at a young age and said, hell with it, man. I got bills to pay. So I joined up too, and just like you said earlier before the show, I wouldn't change a thing about it. It was a great service and I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, for when I joined, it was more, I wanted to have fun. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
I wanted to have fun. And like I said, I was saying earlier before, one of my childhood friends had joined the Air Force. He was older than I was, and he ended up passing away. And we went to his funeral when I think I was 13, and seeing that funeral, I just knew from right then and there that that's what I was going to do, because I saw the color guard, I saw how sharp they look and how in step they
Yeah.
were. Just for a 13-year-old to see that, it was man, it affected the rest of my life. And like I said, my dad's stories about um, how much fun he had, and the travel that he did, and then and I played high school football, and so I was used to being a part of a team and being yelled at. So I was like,
Hmm.
and plus it was the Air Force, so when I got to basic training, I couldn't stop. I was just laughing. I just couldn't stop laughing because I'd gotten treated in Texas football. You get treated a lot harder than you do in
Oh
basic.
yeah, they take football serious down there.
So when I got there, I was just like, I was just laughing, and I'm in. It was just an amazing experience for somebody that's 19. Like, I literally, before I even started my senior year, I already went to MEPS. I was already delayed enlistment program, so I knew that whole year, my senior year, that I was going to be joining the Air Force.
Yeah. Well, what'd you do in the Air Force? What was
I was,
your job?
yeah. So funny story about that is I was literally in basic training, and it just goes to show like how I didn't really have much fear in basic training, because you go open general, and they give you a list of all the jobs you want to do. And I put security, like security police or security forces, at the very bottom of the list.
Hmm.
I wanted to do AWACS, so I even went through the whole thing of like doing AWACS physicals and all this stuff. And I couldn't. They call it Valsalva, where you got to pop your ears like on command or something.
Yep.
I was like, I don't know. I've never tried to do that. So I'm like, I had maybe been on a plane once or twice before I went to basic. And then, yeah, so I ended up getting disqualified for that. And then, so I went through all these, and they ended up giving me security police. And I was like, no, ain't going to happen. And I was like, you either change my job, or you either kick me out or change my job, one of the two. And there was this guy in the back. He had finance, and I had security police, and he was like, I wanted to be a police. So he ended up switching with me. And I remember the counselor, he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, because he knew basically you're security police, you're just waving people in the gate the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
so I was thankful that they changed my job. And yeah, that's how it started. And finance is such a great career, as far as, especially for afterwards, because there's jobs everywhere for that,
Yeah.
and doing budget and things like that. And
Yep.
yeah, it was just it just happened that way. It's like I tell my son a lot. It's like, if you don't speak up, it ain't gonna change. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
you're right.
You gotta speak up for yourself.
Yep.
And I think a lot of the things that I've done in my life is because I didn't just take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And my dad, that was the one thing. So when I went into the Army, I was like, I want to be a Ranger. I
Yeah,
seen the picture up on the recruiter's office, and I said, that's what I want to do.
yeah,
And by the time I went back and actually selected my job, my dad had talked me out. I still remember what he said to me. He said, what are you going to do when you get out? Are you just going to go to Walmart, put a bunch of shit on your back, and walk around? Yeah. And I was like, well, I guess he's kind of got a point, man. So I went in as a mechanic, and I don't regret it, man. But I would have liked to, and I did end up getting a chance to go to Ranger School,
yeah.
but it was like at the end of my career, and I was too damn old to even think about doing some shit at that time, But but yeah, man, So I do get it, that it's good to have, especially from the Air Force and the Navy. I think the Air
Yeah.
Force and the Navy having technical field jobs
Yeah.
benefits you big time, because you guys are literally at the same level as the civilian counterparts.
Yeah.
Mechanics in the Army, we are like 20 years behind in technology, because we're
Yeah.
working on the basic stuff. So there's not that even playing field, and a lot of culture shock happens when guys get out and think they're going to go become a diesel mechanic, and they realize, holy shit, I don't know shit. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, and that's the thing with like being in the finance career field. It was everybody because everybody has a pay problem or has to deal with budget at some point. And that's the thing about the Air Force. People that don't know, they say, do you fly jets? I'm like, well, I basically, I say, hey, the Air Force is just like if you have a small city or a city, every job that's in that city, basically that Air Force base has, and that's what you can have one of those careers. So
I would always say I'm only a pilot when I'm at the bar. When the girls are talking to me, yep,
yeah,
I fly
exactly.
jets. So, where did the music come from, man? Did you start the music before? Was that a family thing as well?
No, no, no. Honestly, no. So yeah. So basically, what happened was I was probably 37, 38, 36, 37. And my daughter was kind of going through some issues. We were living in the Netherlands then. We were stationed out there. And she was going through some depression stuff because we had been in Florida for like 10 years before that. I was at Patrick Air Force Base and I was at Tyndall in Panama City, Florida. And she was 11 years old when we moved to the Netherlands. And so she had, just had her braces put on. She was making friends. She had a good school going. Then we got stationed in the Netherlands. And then from there, she went to an international school where everybody's different.
Yeah.
She's got to fit in. Her braces had to be taken off and put different ones on because they have a different system, like just a whole bunch of stuff that she went through. So she had some depression stuff. And I tried to, I remember buying her a guitar and buying myself one. So it was something we can do together.
Yeah, man,
But
that's a
of
good
course,
idea.
yeah, but she was a teenager. So she didn't really, and she's going through stuff. So she didn't really want to be with, hanging out with
Yeah,
me. But I
I
just
get
kept,
that.
yeah. And I had made a decision that instead of watching TV and playing video games and stuff like that, I was going to learn something. So I picked up the guitar. Then I also started doing like really, I don't know if you would say extreme races. They don't seem too extreme once you've done them. I mean, even though they're hard, but yeah, I was doing marathons, half marathons. I was doing Spartan races. And then I just made sure that when I had available time, I was learning something. And that's I picked up the guitar. I started doing half Ironman and stuff like that. And I just made sure that when I wasn't doing something, or when I wasn't racing, that I was going to learn something else. So I picked up the guitar and kind of quickly learned that I wanted to sing. That I like singing, but I couldn't sing. So I started taking vocal lessons when I got to, because we went from the Netherlands. I did a year in Korea between Netherlands and England. And
Osan?
yeah, I was at Osan. Yeah. I did Osan twice in my career, one in 2005, 2006, and then 2015 and 2016. So,
Well, 1995,
oh, yeah.
Mr. Kim outside of Osan Air Force Base gave me my first tattoo. So
Oh, really?
they're all named Mr. Kim too, but
That's fun. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's Mr. Kim or Chow or Choi or,
yep.
yeah. So, but yeah,
I like Korea, man. I had a good time there. That was my first duty station.
Korea, if you get out and you do stuff there in Korea, like when I was doing races, so one Memorial Day weekend out of 4-day weekend, I tried to ride my bike from Busan all the way to Seoul.
Whew.
And in those 4 days, and I got lost. Like I ended up doing it's like a 600-kilometer bike ride, but I ended up doing like 350 because I got lost so much. So I ended up just I ended up on a train back to Songtan, and what do you call it? So, but talk about adventure. I met people that didn't speak English. I was riding past bike or rice paddies, like I literally, what I was going to do. I was going to get a hotel every day. And the first day I had been riding all day and it was about to get dark. And I was like, man, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I need to find a hotel or somewhere to sleep. And I looked on my phone. I had barely any signal. And I looked for like a hotel and I saw one where it's like a motel. And it was 5 miles back the other way. So I ended up going back. And then I get there and it's this old, appliance store that looks like broken into, like it's old, nothing's there. I was like, man, I don't have anywhere to go. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? So I walked around the back, and there was this old man there, and I was like, and he didn't speak English. I was like, sleep. I'm like, hotel or something. And it was one of the coolest hotels because like it was like 30,000 won, so $30. You know what I mean? And I got 2 beers and a bunch of peanuts and seaweed. And man, I scarfed them down because I had been riding all day. So yeah, Osan, man, there is some amazing things in Osan. The food and the seafood is just unbelievable.
Yeah. I was the same way, man. I was up north, but on the weekends, man, I headed south. So I had a good time. Like you said, get out of the barracks and go see things.
Yeah, just don't go drink. I mean, the first time I was in Korea, all I did was darts and drink, and it was bad. Like I got back home, and getting adjusted back to the family was not easy. I was drinking way too much. I was literally finishing an 18-pack during a Dallas Cowboys game. I was like, man, this ain't gonna work. I had to literally stop for like 6 months to bring my tolerance down, man. It was it was not good.
Yeah, it was the same way to this day, the only Korean I still remember is how to say 1 beer, please.
Yeah.
And I said it a lot. Ana McJuJuseo. That's all I remember, man.
Yeah. People don't realize, and I had an easy job, but the thing is, when you're away from the family for a year, that ain't easy. You know what I mean?
No, it ain't.
Then adjusting when you come back. You go through some tough times. I know me and the wife had some tough times the first 6 months, like, trying to get used to each other again. So,
and it goes in waves, like everything's good those first 3 months.
Yeah.
And then that month 4, man, you start getting the fuck this kind of blues, and everything, the attitude comes out, the fights start happening at home because the same waves going on at the house,
Yeah.
And then your last like 2-3 months, man, it's back to excitement and life is great. And all the conversations are about what you're going to do when you get back home and all that stuff. And deployments are the same way, as they go. There's that wave, man. You start here, then you come down here, and then you end up back here again.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Well, let's give everybody a quick taste of your music, man. We've been getting ready to talk about it, but let's let people hear Joe Allen Christi. So this first song that I chose to play, like I told Joe before the show, man, these were the 2 favorite songs that I've got on the radio station from him. And we'll get into a little bit how they wrote and what they brought. So the first one we're going to play is Grandpa's Fishing Hole by Joe Allen Christi.
I was just a kid from a broken home. Mom and Dad couldn't get along. Spent many nights crying myself to sleep. Only saw Dad 4 days a month, sometimes less 'cause he drove a truck. But Grandpa was there when he was on the road. And riding shotgun in Grandpa's truck, headed to his favorite fishing spot, was the only place where I could be a kid. It's where I caught my first fish, and he laughed 'cause I was scared of it. We talked about life and how to be a man. He said, don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life's lessons learned at Grandpa's fishing hole. When Grandpa passed, I took it hard, but he lives forever in my heart. I met a girl, fell in love. I remembered what Grandpa said. So on the bank under the willow tree, I asked her if she'd marry me. I didn't think that fishing hole could mean any more to me. 'Cause it's where I caught my first fish. He laughed 'cause I was scared of it. We talked about life and how to be a man. He said, don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life's lessons learned at Grandpa's fishing hole. Spot. They fish, swim, and laugh a lot. We picnic on the bank under the willow tree. I miss that man, but we're making new memories. It's where they caught their first fish, where their mom and I had our first kiss. Grandpa's gone, but he lives in the words he said to me. Don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life's lessons learned at Grandpa's fishing hole. I can't imagine life without Grandpa's fishing hole.
All right, man. So I know you said that music didn't start with the military or before. Yeah. So when did the first time of actually getting in front of people and playing, when did that take off?
Yeah, so I initially just started playing online, you know, doing Twitch, and then from Twitch I went to TikTok. And I literally, when I first started, I only knew 25 songs. Like I didn't, you know, and not that great, you know what I mean? So I just concentrated on getting better every day, you know, setting goals. And I got on TikTok for maybe a year before I literally started playing around, you know, playing or like going to open mics and things like that. Mm-hmm. And just trying to get better, you know. And then it was around December time frame, I think maybe of 20. Maybe when COVID started? Maybe, yeah, something like that. Something right before COVID started. Mm-hmm. And I just started going to open mics. The first open mic I went to, I played 3 songs, and I literally, like 10 minutes after I finished my set, I got asked to come back Thursday to play an hour-and-a-half set.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, what? I was like, and right away I said yes, is because like it was one of my goals. I was like, this is why I'm doing this. You know, don't be scared, get out there.
Yeah.
And I'd been playing on TikTok for 2.5, 3 hours, you know what I mean? So it's like doing an hour-and-a-half set. I got enough songs. So I said, let's do it. So, and that's what I started doing. Then I started doing more open mics and doing more shows here and there. And then now I'm booking regular stuff. But yeah, I've always been the type of person, especially late in life, like when I was doing those races, I got this in my head, and I was following a lot of like hardcore people, get out of your comfort zone and things like that. So I just transferred that over to music, and don't, you know, get out of your comfort zone. You don't learn anything without doing that. So it's like,
you know, I think that's one of the most important traits that veterans have, you know, for the most part, I'm not going to say 100%, but for the most part, most veterans have that let's get the mission accomplished type A personality, you know, and we instill that in our kids. We instill that in ourselves, you know, and sometimes it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes, you know, you can be a little too strict and nothing's ever good enough. But at the end of the day, it's about just pushing forward. You know, if you don't do anything out of your comfort zone, you will stay stagnant your whole life.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And you got, it's who you surround yourself with. You know, it's like,
absolutely.
Like I know when I was at Osan, I had you know, I was away from the family for a year, so I was like, you know, I was running before that and doing races before that, but then there was a runners group there at Osan, and that I made friends with. And like the first time I joined them, I had never ran more than 13 miles, but we ran 18 miles that on a Saturday. We ran from Osan to Camp Humphreys, and we would bus back. And I was like, I had done half marathons. I was like, man, they're doing 18 miles. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? And that was what got me going, hanging around with those guys. I did my first Ironman in Korea, and I signed up three months before the race started. I had never swam a mile. I didn't know how to swim, but their mentality just rubbed off on me. I was like, I'm just gonna learn, and by the time the race here, I'll be ready. And yeah, the swim was rough. I had to talk myself out of quitting in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
But, hey, I kept going, and those folks I owe a lot to, because their mentality just rubbed off on me too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I did 10 years in the 160th, and we were out training with some SEALs.
Yeah.
And I was a good runner too. I'm not now. I can barely walk, but back then, you know, I could run. I never ran long distance like that. You know, 5Ks were probably the furthest I've ever ran. But so I went running with these SEALs, and you know, it shocked them that an Army guy was actually keeping up with them and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize there was more to this. They took off running. Next thing I know, we're down there on a pier, and they just take off and dive off into the ocean. It's where my ass turns around, and I started heading back.
Yeah, it ain't easy. It's not easy, especially an ocean swim. Ocean swims are scary.
Yeah, man. I was more worried about becoming shark shit at the bottom of it. No, I'm good, man.
Exactly.
So, did you actually start playing online while you were in Korea? Is that where it started at?
No, it didn't start till I retired, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I retired so I retired from the Air Force in 2019. I was stationed in England. I had done I did 24 years, and yeah, looking for a job. And then once I got settled down, and I still had always playing guitar, taking lessons, and then I started just that's the thing. Like you try to talk yourself out of it. You know, you go on TikTok and you start playing songs, and you only know, like, you don't know that many songs. So it's like, but you have to start somewhere. So that's what I did. You know, now, I mean, I got, man, over 100, probably 125, 150 songs I know, and I'm writing my own songs now. So it's like,
yeah.
And then, you know, Grandpa's Fishing Hole I wrote last year. It was just something I wrote by myself. And, you know, me and my grandpa were close when I was young. He died when I was very young. And a lot of the stuff that I say, especially in the first verse, is kind of exactly how it went. You know what I mean? My mom and dad, they separated when I was the oldest, so it hit me the hardest. And they were fighting all the time, you know, child support or custody, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So really, the only place I could really forget about that was when I was with my grandfather.
You know, I when I heard that song, because it made me think of the same thing. You know, the times of going hunting, fishing, and just that bonding time. You know. It made me feel like I was becoming a man and doing manly things, and you know, there wasn't an expectation when you were with your grandpa, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but when you're with your dad, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I absolutely loved it too, man. And to this day, I still love hunting and fishing and all the outdoor stuff, man.
I love it. And yeah, and like I said, my dad was a truck driver, so. And at that time, especially when I was younger, he was doing long hauls, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't, and then we only got to see him every other weekend. And then of course, sometimes he had to work. So we didn't get to see him.
Yeah, man. I know that life all too well. You know, I don't know if your dad owned his truck, but you know, it doesn't get any better when you own the truck, because that week you're off, you're supposed to be spending with your family. Well, you end up working on your truck to get it ready for the next run, you know.
Yeah, he worked for a company, so
that's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. There's a song out there. I see that you've got a guitar strap, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. So I got that other song, "Keep the Flag." Would you mind playing that?
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Oh yeah, man. I love this song. Any of y'all who have not heard Joe Allen Christie before, man, you will. If you are a veteran, I promise you will resonate to this song.
Absolutely. Here we go. Let's see. He woke up one morning to the sound of a telephone ring. His dad was lacing his boots, bags were packed up to go away. He was 7 years old when his daddy left to fight in a war. He's too young to understand what for. He said, "Be brave, my son, I'll be home soon." The boy held on to hope till he got that awful news. And as they folded up the stars and stripes, 21 guns pointed towards the sky. As the shots rang out, he flinched a little each time. And a soldier in his best dress walked up to him, and you know the rest. Through his pain, the soldier's words fell flat. He said, "You keep the flag. I want my daddy back." There ain't no book on how life can go on without his daddy. Their house ain't home. And there's certain things a mama just don't get, like baiting a hook hole in a catcher's mitt. She watches him play catch with the wall. He's talking to his daddy like he never left at all. And as they folded up the stars and stripes, 21 guns pointed towards the sky. As the shots rang out, she flinched a little each time. Then a soldier in his best dress walked up to her, and you know the rest. Through her pain, the soldier's words fell flat. She said, "You keep the flag. I want his daddy back." As time passed together, they moved on. Through the years, his memory stayed strong. The flag they never won, and now sits proudly on the mantle to give honor to the man that gave his all. And as they folded up the stars and stripes, 21 guns pointed towards the sky. As the shots rang out, he flinched a little each time. Then a soldier in his best dress walked up to him, and you know the rest. Through his pain, the soldier's words fell flat. He said, "You keep the flag." He said, "You keep the flag. I want my daddy back." The flag they never won, and now sits proudly on the mantle to give honor to the man that gave his all.
I know y'all can't see it, but I got chills, dude. I'm telling you, man. I resonate to that song. I have helped bury 3 of my brothers, and I've been to my dad's military funeral, and it's gotten to the point where that the song Taps, I just can't stand. I can't even listen to it. But
Yep.
everything you just said in there, man, I could still picture that general handing the family members the flag, you
Yeah.
know, and trying not to choke up and cry when it's happening. All of them have that. All of them have that same emotion, man. They would give that flag back in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And, you know, it's so important to me because, you know, I was an Air Force guy, and, you know, I did deploy during when the war kicked off in 2003, but, you know, I had an easy job compared to everybody else. And it just means so much that people have given their lives for us. And it's just one of those things. And if you listen to the recording, of Keep the Flag, there is taps playing in it. If you listen closely.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Man. Yeah. I so I don't remember the exact numbers. All right, but Gunroom Radio, we do the top 20 every Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And I am pretty sure at least 3 of your songs is there. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Keep the Flag is like 10 or 9, somewhere around there. And I don't personally vote because I'm you know, I'm the guy behind the scenes, but man, when I seen that I had to smile, man.
Yeah.
Cuz dude, that song has to resonate with so many people.
Yeah. And when I first wrote it and started playing it, you know, and we played at open mics and playing at shows and stuff. And, you know, I don't always play it just because sometimes the audience, it's a really sad song. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But man, especially doing open mics, people hear they're like they're balling up too. So especially the
Yeah.
first time you hear it. So it's just one of
Well,
those songs that hits, you know, especially if you love your country and you're thankful for the folks that gave their lives.
yeah, man. I mean, and if you don't mind sharing, how long did it take to write that song?
Yeah, so basically what happened was I had written my first song the month prior, maybe a month and a half or so. I had been trying to write songs for like 2 or 3 years. As soon as I started picking up like singing and stuff, I was like, okay, let me start trying to write my own stuff. And it just wasn't coming. I had a bunch of scribbles and trying to just write. And then I wrote my first song, and that one's called Bonfires of Strawberry Hill, which I'm hoping to record soon. But I through that open mic, I had met a friend of mine. He was his name is Philip Jeffries, and he we kind of wrote just started hanging out, and I said, hey, I have this idea for a song because he writes songs.
Mhm.
And I said, there's a song I have. It's called "Keep the Flag," and it's like when a guy, a boy is getting presented the flag, and he's like, he doesn't want the flag. You know what I mean? He wants his dad back. And so he literally 30 minutes later, after we talked on the phone, he was at the house, and it probably took us 3.5, 4 hours to finish it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That include the music and everything, or just
Yeah,
the words?
because see, my friend, like I said, he used to be a session music or session artist or musician in Nashville.
Okay.
So he was really good at guitar. He would do the guitar parts, and my guitar playing is suspect. So so it's like he would be on the guitar, and then we're writing. So yeah, and we literally uh yeah, it took 3.5 hours. We're eating wings and just trying to get this song done, and yeah, we did. And yeah, it just kind of flowed. And
Yeah.
it was just something, especially, you know, I'd been to military funerals. Like I talked about my childhood, one of my childhood friends, and I was an honor
Yeah.
guard my early career in the Air Force. So we had done a lot of those funerals.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand, you know, what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you capture in that song, you capture exactly the vibe of a military funeral, you
Yep.
know? And I've never heard anybody talk about it, capture it like I had when I heard that song. So,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
I mean, dude, you yeah. Yeah, it's just the way you were, because it's like you're telling a story, man. I could picture that kid, getting the flag and crying, you know, because I seen similar things. So, and I think, like you said, I think all of us at some point has seen it, you know.
Yeah, and I love the way a lot of the songs that I write are stories, and that's what
Yeah,
I grew up listening to that. You know what I mean? Like I love the old country a lot. Like I play some new stuff, but if you listen to like stuff that I played during my lives that I cover, you know, like Seven Spanish Angels, you know, stuff like that. I love the stories. That's like,
last night it was just a swinging.
yeah,
You played that last night on TikTok. I said, man, I have not heard that song for years. I
yeah,
mean, that was back before had to wear a seatbelt. I was in the
yeah,
back seat bouncing around the station wagon. Dad was listening to that.
yeah. That's funny because like I was doing a gig out in here in Manitou Springs, in near Colorado Springs, and a lady I was playing Seminole Wind, and
Mhm.
she asked me if I knew swing. I was like, I don't know it. I'm sorry. I promise you that I will learn it. So I learned it, and then I went to the next gig, and then she wasn't there, but I'll probably catch her the next time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had to chuckle when I heard that. I said, "Wow, man, that takes me back. I ain't heard that in years."
Yeah, yeah, I love the old stuff, man. I grew up on that, like you know, riding with my dad in his truck, and it
Yeah.
was always country.
Yep,
You know,
that's same in my house, you know.
yeah,
I would turn into being a more rock guy, but I do like country. One of my favorite artists of all time in country is George Jones. I'm a
yeah.
and I think partially it's not so much the music as much as um, when I was deployed in Bosnia, he gave my mom a CD that just came out called High Tech Redneck,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he autographed it, and um, then he told my mom to get our address, and he sent everybody in my platoon hats and signed pictures and everything. So I thought that was really cool, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, he's an icon, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yep. That song, I don't know if you've ever heard it, called "Wild Irish Rose." I love that song by him.
I might have heard it. I have to listen to it.
It talks about a veteran that was put in a mental institution, and they
Mm,
lost funding, and
yeah.
they just opened the doors and released everybody.
Oh,
And he was on the streets, homeless, and he always had a bottle of Wild Irish Rose in his hands, drinking. And they found him froze to death, still holding a bottle of Wild Irish Rose. And that's what the song's about.
wow. That's
Really, really good song, man.
yeah.
Especially
That's
if
what
you
I
like
love.
the slower song, the sad stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's what I love about country. It's like it's a story and the way it hits you. I don't think I've ever listened to a rock song and cried. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. You know, with the rock and roll, it's not so much about the words as it is the music. And country
Yeah,
is the exact opposite. It's the story that's being told, then the music, you know.
yeah, and it's like that song from Randy Travis. It's about a grandma. It's about grandma. Oh, what is it called? Um, and I can't remember the name, but man, I can barely listen to that song. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Those songs that the people write that hit you in the heart, and it's like that's why I love country so much. That's why a lot of the songs that I write, I try to make it meaningful.
Yeah. You know, and that's one thing I've always said about, you know, I'm not going to go into how Gunroom Radio started, but it was a long process. But what I didn't expect to love about it so much is when you listen to the regular big time radio stations, you know, say Sirius XM or whatever, the people that are singing those songs, maybe you get it, maybe you don't. But
Yeah,
because we have taken a a group of people that come from similar life experiences, you find yourself resonating to a lot more songs.
yep,
And and the people that are singing on there are singing about things that are meant to them, you
yep,
know, just like you said with grandpa's fishing hole, you know, that was about your grandpa. And there is some guys that are singing about military on there, but it's not all about the military times. There's
yeah,
personal stuff too. But the thing that I love about it is they're songs from the heart, man.
yep,
And and I think that is one of the most amazing things that came out of Gunroom Radio is just the fact that is everybody that sings. I don't care what artist, what time of day you listen to, you're gonna pull a piece of their life from
Yep.
that song. You know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. If you don't mind, you got one more song you'd like to share with everybody?
Yeah, I guess I could do another one. I play you. This is a song that I wrote. This is the very first song that I wrote, and it's about growing up. I grew up in Corpus Christi, and we did a lot of bonfires after high school games, and we spent all night out there, and just being with your friends and your girlfriend, and we would. I remember loading up my dad's truck with a bunch of pallets behind Walmart and just taking them to the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just where I grew up. I was very lucky because back in those times, like, you get stopped by the cops and stuff, and you're a teenager, and they just tell you to pour your beer out. You know what I mean? And get the hell out.
Yep.
But we had a bunch of fun, and to this day, all my friends, it was a group of us, probably six to seven folks, and we see each other now. It's like I never left.
Yeah, man.
Even though I joined the Air Force, I didn't see them that often. But this one's called "Bonfires in Strawberry Hill." We were young and we were wild, sipping Boone's Farm, smoking Black and Milds, rocking that pickup truck on a Friday night. 3 doors down the street from her house, she snuck out quiet as a mouse. Put her in drive with the 6 shifts between her legs. Headed to Padre with pallets to burn. Bunch of kids with a lot left to learn. Not a care in the world, future bright but unclear. It was bonfires in Strawberry Hill, singing campfire songs, thinking back I get chills. It was holding on to your girlfriend tight in. Puppy love so wrong, but it felt so right. Just caught fire and we had to go when the flames raged out of control. In a convoy of trucks headed back to town. Got stopped by the cops that night, he said, pour out your beer, son, or jail for the night. Switch seats, now she's driving herself home. Now the 6 shifts between my legs, I'm stealing kisses up and down her neck. Wishing we were back in front of that fire. It was bonfires in Strawberry Hill, singing campfire songs, thinking back I get chills. It was holding on to your girlfriend tight in. Puppy love so wrong, but it felt so right. Don't take the girl on the radio singing into her eyes, we both wanted more. It wasn't meant to be, her mom was waiting outside. Next day I waited for her call with a phone rang. We talked about it all, reminiscing about last night and the fun we had when it was bonfires in Strawberry Hill, dancing around the flames. Man, I get chills. It was holding on to your girlfriend tight in. Puppy love so wrong, but it felt so right. It was bonfires in Strawberry Hill, singing campfire songs. Man, I get chills. It was holding on to your girlfriend tight in. Puppy love so wrong, but it felt so right. It felt so right.
Man. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna end up selling out auditoriums one of these days, man. You're gonna be like Madison Square Garden. Yeah,
If God willing, brother, God willing.
I'm telling you, man. I feel it, you know, brother. So where if somebody wanted to catch a show or catch a live, man, what is the best way for them to find out about you?
Easiest way, if you go to just joeallenchristi.com, I have all my social medias there. Where I'm playing next. You know, I'm just doing solo gigs right now. But I'm in a band. We're actually we've been practicing for the last two months or so. So
Okay.
we're booking, and the band's going to be called Winchester Road.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to be doing is, if I'm playing something that I've booked, they're going to play. They'll play with me, and I'll play as Joe Allen Christi. Like hopefully next year for Vet Stock, I'll have a full band, and we'll do that. And yeah, you can find me there where I'm playing next. Like I said, I'm just doing solo acoustic shows at the moment, but I do have a full band, and we just haven't booked anything yet because we're just trying to get everything tight.
Okay. Vet Stock, that is up there in Pennsylvania, right? Is that where they're based out of? Oh, you're talking about Hero Stock.
Hero Stock, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Said it
Yep.
wrong.
Man, you're gonna be there in 24, you said, or
Yeah, God willing, 2024. Me and Jason have been talking, so maybe
awesome.
yeah, September 2024.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So I partnered with him too. So we're looking to try to get him Hero Stock down here in Missouri, and he's got some stuff planned up there in Michigan. I mean, Hero Stock has taken off, brother.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and you know, I just want to get out there and play music. You know, I got a full-time job working for the Space Force. I work from home. You know, kind of.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? But
Right.
you know, my boy, he's just about to start high school, and eventually I'll move down to Texas and try and get in the Texas country scene there. But
You're
yeah,
down there competing against old Jen Ford.
yeah, there's a lot of great artists that I've met out there. There's a
There
guy,
is.
he's not a veteran, but his name's Nate Burnham. The dude is
Mhm.
good. And then yeah, there's quite a few folks that I've met, because I've met a lot of folks. I don't know if you know the story about where I recorded my songs at.
I don't.
Yeah, so basically what happened was I met some folks on TikTok that connected me to a guy named Ben Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Miller's, he's played for Shenandoah, lead guitar.
Okay.
He's played for Riley Green. He now plays for Trey Lewis. I don't know if you know Trey Lewis. He's fairly new, but everybody knows him from that song "Dick Down in Dallas."
Okay.
Yeah, so he plays for Trey Lewis. So I went down. I met Ben on TikTok. I sent him my songs, and he said, "Yeah, let's record it." And so I went down last October, and we were literally in Jody Messina's drummer. We were in his studio.
Wow.
Yeah, so we recorded there, and one of the other guys that recorded on the record, his name is Gideon Boley, and he plays for a guy named, I think it's Morgan Evans. He's an Australian country artist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had some major musicians playing on this thing like that. On the other side, that solo at the end, that's Ben Miller.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sounding songs. Like the music on that is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the desert,
Uh-huh.
horse or on a motorcycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I made so many connections through TikTok. You know, and I know it's not the greatest app. There's a lot of crazy stuff on there, but
That's all of them, man.
yeah, it's a really good platform.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, you know, I say this in a lot of my shows, but it is true. I used to be that guy that would delete Facebook and everything else, get pissed off and so forth. But what I've realized is if you start using social media against itself,
Yeah,
it will become rewarding. Meaning, stop searching for negative shit and it'll stop showing you negative shit.
yeah,
You know, if you go through my feed now, it's all 501Cs, it's veterans. I get a lot of artists. Some are veterans, some are not. You know, Facebook doesn't know what it is that exactly I'm looking for, but I get a lot of bands that are now starting to show up in my feed, and a lot of 501c nonprofits for multiple things. But man, it makes me enjoy social media now, you know, because I don't see all that negative stuff. So I think I think that's an important thing, man. And you're gonna get weird ass people in all of them. I don't care which platform you're on, man.
Get the trolls. I mean, people.
Yep.
It never fails. Somebody comes in, say play Freebird, or it just, or they tell you to quit singing, and you know what I mean. And usually they don't have a profile picture, and they're just like troll.
Yep.
They just really make accounts to come in and mess with you. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, man. I don't even. I used to respond. I don't even respond anymore. I just delete it and move on. It ain't worth my time anymore.
Exactly.
'Cause I used to get a lot of tinfoil hat guys. The name alone attracted a lot of weird ass people.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah, I think is it Roof's live when I first met him.
Mm-hmm.
He had his Semper Fi flag back then. Man, he had so many trolls. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the first thing they come and say, "Oh, you must be a Trumper." I'm like,
yep.
People these days, man, it just never ceases to amaze the stuff that they say.
Yep. I had one guy respond. He said, 2 drunk dudes in a gun room. If you really want to help veterans, stop trying to get people to drink and get drunk. Don't you know that alcohol is a depressant? And I was like, holy shit, it's a depressant. Yeah, I think they're talking about your nervous system. I don't think they're really talking about it makes you sad. You might cry, you might be a sympathetic drunk, or you might be happy, or you might just kill shit. It's
exactly.
One of the three. But at the end of the day, I believe so that would make cocaine a happy drug,
right?
Because it's a stimulant. Yeah, man, I get all sorts of weird ass people too. I get the same thing too. Oh, when are we gonna go storm the Capitol, Captain America? I get all that shit.
It's funny. It's like one of my band members was actually there, and
Was he?
Yeah, he was there, and he said that they kind of talked to him, but he didn't see all that.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I just laugh, and I keep all that shit off my show because at the end of the day, I can't change that.
Yeah,
I might be able to match a veteran up with a 501c for a program that they're looking for, or connect a veteran that is looking for gigs or playing music or something like that, so I can control those elements, and that's what I focus on, man.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a great job, man. I really appreciate the work that you do and helping vets like me get my name out there, and because that's really what it's all about.
It is, man.
Like I literally was I was asking a friend of mine that's a Texas artist about how to get your song on the radio and stuff, and he said this guy, and he said, hey, he's probably not going to accept any of your songs. Just get, because he only does certain things. His name was Dylan Steen, and the only one he accepted that he would promote was Grandpa's Fishing Hole, but he wanted $4, and as an independent artist, you don't have that kind of money to back you, and like I use that money to record. So
he wanted you to pay to promote your song.
Yeah, $4,000 to get it on Texas radio.
Man, see, that's why I created Gunroom Radio right there.
Yeah,
because
exactly. I'm saying I'm so thankful for that.
At the end of the day, I felt for those same problems. When I started podcasting, I was just like everybody else. It was like, ooh, how many people downloaded? How many watchers do I got? And I learned real quick, man. You can't control the algorithms of Spotify and all these places, and unless you've got a lot of money, you're not going to be Joe Rogan. It's that simple. And until I started getting artists on, because I'd been 2 years into the show before I even had an artist come on. It was all 501c and military veterans. And Scotty Hastings was the first artist that came on.
Yeah.
And then somehow it just like I got one after another. And then I discovered, man, I was like, I podcast for the fun of it. I don't try to make any money off of it, but these guys, that's a whole different story. I mean, some of these guys, this is their full-time gig. You got Barbara Sim that's living van life, driving across America, gigging. This is income. This is food.
Yeah.
And this ain't about algorithms. And then I started thinking about how, people like yourself spent 24 years in the military, and then you start your career. Well, you're way behind somebody else that didn't serve a damn day for our country.
Yep.
And they're already finishing their career.
Yep.
You know? So I just wanted to create a place where there was no algorithms, man. Everybody's music gets played, and you know, it's isolated. The veterans' music doesn't get watered down because they got to show other people favoritism or whatever, you know. And that's solely the reason why I created it. We're in the process of trying to turn it into a 501c. So at the end of the day, nobody will own it. It'll always be a nonprofit to just keep plugging y'all's music and getting it out there, man.
Absolutely. That's amazing.
Yeah, brother. Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. When I go to upload this into Spotify, I will post the links to your webpage,
Okay.
your TikTok profile, Spotify, and your Facebook profile. All right,
Perfect.
and we will continue to blare your music on the radio station. And I can honestly, with you, I can speak for all the artists. They will be playing your music because they have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that so much. It means a lot.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I mean, yeah, I love doing things like this and chatting, and you know, hopefully people can find some inspiration in it.
Yeah, man. I guarantee you they can. Well, I'm gonna throw my little exit out there. If you don't mind hanging on, we'll chat for a few quick minute after the show. All right.
Sure.